Okay, so for these first couple photos, I want to showcase I want to showcase like a couple different instances where say I used the auto mode and like the telephone and like the zoom and all that stuff. So I'll go here. This is like from downtown Minneapolis. I was at the train station by Target Field, and I decided to zoom in. I forgot how much I zoomed in. I wish the camera app would tell you how much you zoomed in. Doesn't really tell you that, but nonetheless, this looks very good. I'm pretty sure it was like 7 or 8x zoom, and that looks really nice. But then there's like photos like this, where this was in auto mode. This looks really quality, really nice too. Keep in mind that this phone has a 12 megapixel main camera. I think another 12 megapixel. Let me actually make sure before I just say this, but I believe it has a 12 megapixel telephoto and not and a 12 megapixel wide angle lens. I'm gonna look at this real quick, but S20 FE GSM Arena. But yeah, this is taken with the main lens, no zoom at all, nothing like that. And to me, this looks really nice. Very nice detail when it comes to say the Saxon Fifth logo right here. There's a little bit of grain, but it's like a natural grain that comes from the lens itself, and it looks really nice. It's something that the V60 does have too, and a lot of people tend to give it slack for that. But the amount of grain that the V60 does have, it makes it look like more photogenic than say your typical other like phones and stuff where they look a bit artificial because of auto processing and stuff like that. But yeah, let me go and look at these camera specs here just so I can tell you guys. Okay, so there's a 8 megapixel telephoto and 12 megapixel ultra wide. So it's 12, 8, and 12. And honestly, there's a good amount of detail on this photo here. That looks really nice, really quality. That looks really nice. I don't really have any issues with how this looks, but what I did was I went into the pro photo mode or manual photo mode, and then I made it look. That's just another one I took. I think I just lowered the exposure, and that looks really nice too. But then I did this when it came to just doing it in manual mode, just to have a little bit of like a different perspective on how it could look. This looks really nice to me. I really like this. It's clean. I sent it to my girlfriend. She liked it a lot too. But yeah, to me personally, I feel this camera is really nice overall. It's a very good camera. So then I decided to do a telephoto photo and a telephoto photo. And what I did was I zoomed in. I think this was like 7 or 8x zoom on the Fauché building here, tower here. And this is really nice detail overall. Like obviously you're not gonna get a bunch of sharpness when it comes to this, but compared to what I expected, this looks really nice. And the zoom in the proper lighting will give you a good amount of what I would a good amount of detail. And this is really nice as well. It doesn't do what the iPhone does, where the iPhone tends to sharpen a bit just so it looks a bit more pleasing to the eye. This does kind of what the V60 does, where it's not soft, but it doesn't sharpen and it just looks nice overall. So I'm gonna go here. This is another one I just took. Really nice. I don't really have any issues with how this looks. Sharpened well enough. It looks natural and all that stuff. It looks pretty good. This is one that I did take on the while I was on the bus, and I did this and I compared it with the V60, and I'll probably do this in a more like in-depth comparison to the V60, but mm, honestly, when I compared it to the V60, this looks a bit dry. It looks it looks a bit blurred out. Not blurred out, but it doesn't look nearly as defined. It doesn't look, even though I did have HDR on, it doesn't look like this is like an HDR photo. It looks very plain, I guess what I would say. But there's a good amount of detail here nonetheless. It's still a good photo. I would still definitely use it to say post on like Instagram or something like that. A good amount of bokeh in the background. There's really no fringing or anything when it comes to say any sort of details. It looks very nice. Um then I took a couple pictures of one of my cats here. Um I think this is the one where, yeah, I think that's the one where where I had the scene optimizer on, and Samsung, for whatever reason, with their scene optimizer, it makes cats look fuzzy. It doesn't make their fur defined at all. So what I did was I turned that off, and now this is really nice here. This looks really clean, looks nice. There's more definition on, her fur and stuff like that. Looks really nice. And same with this photo here. And yeah, and this is just a photo I took of a cup that I got from my girlfriend. It's really nice. This is a telephoto, picture. I did it at 10x zoom, and it looks really nice, really clean. Very similar to the V60, and this is something that I will say that is very nice and something you can't really understate about the V60 and not having a telephoto lens. It looks as good as this photo does. And and that's not to just shit on the S20 FE or anything like that, but it's characteristic. Like both of these photos to me look better than what the iPhone puts out, because the iPhone, like I said, tends to over sharpen. But this isn't really over sharpened at all. It looks really nice. Like obviously you're gonna get some blur because you're zooming in, but I really like this what do they call it? I keep forgetting what do they call it when it comes to the zoom, super pixel zoom or something like that, where it gives you a good amount of definition and it just looks really nice. And I did it at 30x zoom here as well, the maximum zoom that this phone can do. That looks really nice. Then I took this. The camera was a bit blurry because it's a little bit cold outside, so I had to wait for the camera to not be as blurry. But I took one from like a regular angle. I took one, I think this is at 10x. Then I took it at 30x. And this is really nice as well. It looks really quality. I don't really have any issue with how this looks or anything of the sort. But yeah, it's a little bit, there's a little bit of fringing right there as it looks a little bit fuzzy, but that's kind of characteristic of the kind of what you're doing to the camera. So it makes sense. And overall, it just looks nice. Those are videos. Then I took a couple of like bokeh or not macro shots here. And there's a good amount of detail coming from this 12 megapixel lens. And I feel what people got to do is they got to keep in mind that these cameras, these 12 megapixel cameras, have been being used for 4 or 5 years now. So they've been doing real good when it comes to say how they use these lenses. They pretty much know what they're doing, right? And this looks really clean, really nice. It's not going to be as like, the bokeh is not going to be as like creamy as like the V60 or anything like that, but overall this is like a very good photo. It really doesn't make me like wish that this phone had a 64 megapixel camera, because Samsung has been having issues with their higher megapixel count cameras, so you know with focusing issues and all that. So it's nice to have this, and it honestly just looks really nice. I took another one with someone jogging in the background. Pretty much the same photo, same deal. It looks very nice quality. I really don't have any issues with how that looks. Then I took a photo of these couple pine cones right here, and they look really nice. A good amount of detail on them. You don't really see any sort of sharpening or over sharpening going on, so it looks really nice. the focus fall off and stuff like that is really nice. I don't really have any sort of issue with that. Um, then there was this a little bit more of an involved photo to see how much detail it would keep on, like, say, the white edges right here, to see how much it would keep on that. But overall, that looks really nice and quality as well. Then there was this, pretty much the same deal. Good, really don't have any issue with that. Same with this, it looks nice and quality. I like, again, no issue. Uh, Like, very good amount of bokeh. No V6, not the V60, or I don't know Note 10 nor Note 20 because I don't have a base Note 20, but overall this looks really nice. Then this is something I decided to take because I really wanted to see the detail on, say, this leaf here, right? And then I wanted to test it with the background. And this is really nice. I really do like the amount of detail that this retrieves in terms of the camera. A little bit fuzzy right here, but overall that's fine. I did focus like right here in the center on the leaf, and overall it just looks really clean. Don't really have any issues with, say OnePlus, for example, when it comes to HDR or anything like that. They tend to be quite aggressive when it comes to their HDR, especially on the OnePlus 6T, which was what I really have the most experience with when it comes to OnePlus phones. But yeah, there's really the HDR is not too aggressive. It looks fine. I don't really have any issue with it. The sky looks nice and satisfying in the background, blurred out. Don't really have any sort of highlights blown out or anything like that. Looks really clean. This is where the HDR looks really nice too. How green this leaf is right here. Um, it's really good contrast. This is something that I really do like because when it comes to, say, something like, say, a portrait shot or something, right? This is what made me feel like we never really needed anything like that. Now I understand for, like, say, basic shots when it comes to like people, right? Sometimes your camera doesn't really focus that well when it comes to people, but in terms of what this does, this looks really nice, clean, good amount of detail. Don't really have any problem with it. Um, well, yeah, that looks really nice. Then there's another 10x shot. Other phones like the V60 and like the iPhone 11 Pro Max had a little bit of trouble with this, but overall, this is definitely the better of the three when it comes to this image. There's a good amount of detail, say, on the light here and on like on the car, and then you can see the 212 Medical Center right here. That looks really nice. There's a little bit of fringing, but it's not terrible. Then I did another bokeh shot, really nice, clean, good amount of, like, say, focus on one part and then other parts are blurred out. That's really nice. Same with this. And then I just took a random photo to just send to my friends because I was like, yo, this looks pretty good. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to show you guys. S20 FE so far, in terms of the camera, I really do like it. There have been videos that I've watched that have said that the S20 FE is not, say, pixel worthy or anything like that. And then, a lot of people just install Gcam on their phone because they think Gcam just makes every phone's camera look better. I'm sorry, but you're kind of doing yourself a disservice with partake certain phones when you do that, because I'm sorry, but one camera app that's meant for another phone and its hardware is not going to leverage the hardware of, say, a V60 or anything like that because it's not designed to do that. So, in terms of what this camera can do, I'm really satisfied with it, man. It's a really nice camera. Like, I thought, oh, is it 12 megapixel sensor? I'm not going to like it as much. But I started using it quite a bit more and it looks really nice. I haven't taken many night shots, but in terms of what I've seen so far, I could say that night shots are probably going to be good enough. Like, it's not going to be my main camera, but it's probably going to be a camera that I do indeed bring with me along the way. But yeah, this is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday, whatever time of day it is in your area. Have a good one.